is Wednesday afternoon, and I'm tired. Mr. Jerry's out. He's back home mowing. He ran up to Pearson Orchards and picked up a half a bushel of green beans. I kept telling him this morning, you know, we can wait till next week. He said, yeah, but then there's corn to freeze. And I said, we can wait till next week. We don't have to do everything in one week. Oh, my Lanta. So he's out mowing, and this afternoon we will, or later tonight, we're going to do the freezer jam. So, and I do have half a bushel of green beans to snap. Last year, I remember we were able just to, you know, just snap them. The ones we got yesterday, there was no snapping. They were definitely old, starting to get a little wrinkly, like the rest of us, you know. Well, I'll speak for myself, like me. And so I had to use the kitchen shears on those. And normally I can get about 21 pints out of a half a bushel, and we were only able to get 13 because we had to throw a lot away. So and that was a little expensive because she had quoted me on the phone $50 for a bushel, and I should have asked the price of a half bushel, but I didn't because I just assumed it'd be close to half. And when we got there was no price. Jerry just went up and just said, you know, he wanted a half a bushel of green beans, and she brought them out. And I should have told her, no, never mind, when I saw her taking them out of the box in the refrigerator to put into the half bushel container. And so I started snipping them yesterday, and I got like 8 cups done, and I was so frustrated with how they looked and everything. And I said something to Mr. Jerry. He came out and looked at them, but then he went out doing whatever. So I asked my friend who has been gardening and canning for like 20 plus years, would she still use them? She said yes, especially if you're just canning them. And so we paid $34 for that. So they are some expensive beans. So we did get that done. I got that done about 10:30 last night. And Jerry did help me finish them up and everything, but he was a little disgruntled about it too. So my kitchen is a disaster because it has a bag of green beans that I have to start snapping, and but we're waiting on more lids to come in. I think I have enough to do one batch. So and we'll have to go buy some more jars because I won't have enough jars. So I told him what I would do this afternoon is I would start snipping the green beans, get them at least snipped, and then we can put them in the refrigerator and work on them tomorrow. Or I'll just start one batch today. That's what we did yesterday, because you pressure can them and they take about a total of around 2 hours for everything. By the time they only pressure can for 20 minutes, but then in the canner itself you have to let a natural cooling down, and it takes, you know, out of the electric canner it says it takes 1 hour and 20 minutes, and they're not too far off from that. So sometimes it's a little sooner, but it's still a good hour. So, and I just don't I just don't want to do it. This is the tough season. So I think what I'm going to do is, of course, talk to my friends, and he's out mowing, and I'm just going to edit this vlog. It won't have too much on it. It will have a couple little clips afterwards of Miss Nala and Simba. I didn't sleep well last night because Nala kept coming up and laying beside me, which is fine. But then Simba would jump right up on top of her as she's next to me, and that'd wake me up, and I would boot him off. And then about 6:30, he started in crying because he wanted wet food. So I woke Jerry up because he'd been sleeping all night. I said, your boy is hungry. And he goes, oh, okay. So he got up. And the way Simba does this is Jerry will get up and he can hear him out in the kitchen, and he won't come running until he hears the dry food being put in, and then he bounds right off the bed. But both cats were up until like noon today, so they're in the room here. They're both sleeping. Well, they're back to sleep now. When I walked in, they kind of looked at me, but they're tired. So just like their mama and daddy. So other than that, Miss Jean, I have a question for you on your washcloth. So you use the same like cotton yarn, and you use 3 strands and a size 7 knitting needle, if I read that right, correct? Are you holding 3 different colors, 3 same colors together, or are you taking 2 strands from one ball and then another strand from something else? How do you do it? Inquiring minds want to know. I know you said for the pot holder, if I said washcloth, the pot holder, I know you said 28 stitches to cast on and then knit it for 8 inches. So if anybody wants to do this, listen up, because she did post it in the comments. And then once you get 8 inches, then you're going to bind it off till you get to one last strand. And then you're going to take that strand and you're going to crochet a hanger of 10 chains, I'm assuming, and then hook it in, and voila, you have a pot holder. I hope that's what it was. I did start to try it. I've got 2 colors that one of them I am holding the outside and the inside together, and the other one is a separate color. I'm noticing for me, unless it is I need to try different needles, it's harder on my hands. So I'm using wooden needles, and maybe if I had metal needles, I don't know. But anyways, my hands are not liking it. But is that the general way you do it? But instead I'm crocheting another one, because I showed them to Jerry last night. I did finish that one that I was showing you, and I took them all out to him, said there's 3 more, and he goes, wow, it doesn't take you long to do one. And I says, not really. But you know, it's like my friend said, isn't it so nice that you can make something for yourself, for the household and stuff? So, and I have not decided on that other mosaic blanket for August 8th. I think I'm just tired. I haven't picked up the other one yet to do on the beach houses, the last section. So before I give myself permission to do the next one, I really need to finish this one, because this one was a gift that they don't know they're getting, but you know, I'd like to get it done. But yeah, we're getting rain this afternoon, late into the evening. We're also under, well, actually the whole state of Michigan is, and through August 1st, another air quality alert from the Canadian fires. And it just seems like, you know, there's just so much with the weather lately, you know, with all the tsunamis and everything, and earthquakes where you usually don't see them. And so hopefully everybody is being safe, and if you had family or friends or anything like that, that they've came out okay. Jerry's nephew was over to Hawaii. His niece's son, who's 18, just graduated, was over with a bunch of students over there. I don't know, for something. He's in basketball and stuff. And so they had to be evacuated. And she said where, and then she did post later that they were all okay and that they were scheduled to get on their flight there and everything. So, but yeah, I'm just like, I don't want to do a darn thing. You ever get those days you just don't want to do nothing, but you know that you should, or you need to. I mean, I wouldn't have to snip those green beans. I could fold the brown paper bag up and just, you know, stuff them into the refrigerator, but I won't do that. I do have to figure out for lunch. Jerry stopped to our favorite bakery in Lake Odessa, Myers Bakery, and he bought an old-fashioned glazed donut, and he bought 2 Long John cream donuts, the kind that I like and he likes, but mainly my flavor. I only took a bite. When I say a bite, like a little bite of the old-fashioned, and I just put it back. I just, bless his pea-picking heart, but I just can't. And he'll eat all of them. If I just say, you know, go ahead, you know, I will eventually go put them in a baggie so that they will keep fresh a little bit longer for him. But I can tell when he's stressing out, because he stress eats just like the rest of us. So, but last night we didn't have anything in the house for supper, and neither one of us wanted to cook, and I was just going to have cereal, and he said he was going to go to Burger King, and so we had cheeseburgers and split a fry. That was not the wisest choice, but I'm not going to beat myself up over it either. Went out to the garden today, and I haven't been out in the garden in 3 days because of the humidity and doing everything in the house with canning and all that stuff. And Jerry met me out there, and as you walk into the garden, the trellis there, it has the cucumbers, you know, on it. The Roma tomatoes that I was told should only get to 5 foot are now like 7 foot tall. 2 of the plants right straight up. So it's like a little jungle as you walk through there. I am going to remember not to put the tomatoes there again. But I hadn't been seeing any cucumbers. I mean, there's a ton of yellow flowers, but I noticed, because it's been so hot, and they just, I mean, they like warm heat. They can put up with some heat, but this hot humidity is just not good for them. Well, for any of the plants really. And I saw all these yellow leaves on the bottom, and so I knew I need to get those, you know, clipped off, pulled off, whatever, so that it doesn't draw in the cucumber beetles. So Jerry was on one side and I was on the other side, you know, snipping off what we could. And I did see a couple little tomatoes, a couple little cucumbers that were probably 2 inches long, about the circumference of a pencil. But other than that, we didn't see anything. And then there was a couple vines down below, you know, and I was down there, and so was he, you know, taking care of all basically the dying leaves, because that's the natural thing of them. And I lifted up the one, and I went, oh my goodness. And there was this big old cucumber, like this big, about like this big. Wasn't quite green, but it needed to be picked. And it wasn't soft, it was like right where it should be. So, and it picked right off. So it was probably ready. The thing is if you miss them like that, all it takes is one and it will send that signal to all the plants that we're done. We've done what we're supposed to do. So, so we got that. And the cabbage is still going along. It's starting to, I don't see anything inside forming yet, but the inner leaves are bunching like they should. They have basically another whole month before they are at the maturity date. So, but they're still looking okay. They're a cool crop, and how they're doing on this, I don't know, but so they're still fighting. The potatoes are all starting to die back, the tops, which they're supposed to. They won't be ready, I don't think, until like Labor Day weekend. And the mini butternut butternut squash plants are looking good, lots of flowers. His regular butternut squash plants have got some flowers on it, and it's just vining right up. My peppers, they are now, the bigger peppers are now putting on, you know, little peppers about this big. And the acorn squash, which is the green squash, those have just taken over that whole section. And my green beans vines, I mean, if I get any green beans at all, I will be surprised. I'm not seeing any flowers yet, but I had more green bean vines on my trellis last year than I did this year, and they're in a different spot. So I told Mr. Jerry that next year I'm going to put them over where the cucumbers are. So, because if I get any, it will just be enough for hand eating, you know. But the shelling peas, there was a bunch more, and I would have put a picture up of the cucumber, hopefully, with the peas in there. I mean, the heat's doing them in, and the vines are still looking good, but, you know, I don't see too many more flowers on it. The cantaloupe is doing well with the vines and all the little yellow flowers. So, and all the squash plants and the cantaloupe will probably not be ready until just before the freeze, our first freeze, frost freeze is what they say, in October. But now somebody has posted, when you look it up for our area, now they're saying like the middle of September. And I'm like, oh, I hope not, because I'll have to try to cover everything that isn't quite ready. That's what happened last year. It came a little bit quicker, but yeah. So, but really this time of year, there's a saying that says, you know, at this stage of the game, you're just thankful for whatever survives, because between the bugs and the weather and stuff like that, you're just tickled pink to see something that produces. So, but yeah, other than that, there isn't too much going on. I just need to, I'm not too hungry. So I will probably just get, I don't think I have any, I'm just trying to think. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. Whew, gave me goosebumps. I sneezed 3 times in a row, and no one needs to see that. So, we had, oh, Mr. Jerry made like I would call it a chicken salad wrap sundae. All it was poached chicken that you shredded up, and then he mixed into it. It had a little bit of Colby Jack shredded cheese in it, our Bolthouse ranch dressing, salt and pepper, whatever spices you want. I'm not for sure all the spices he put in it. And then you just layer it with some lettuce on a wrap, and you put the chicken salad on top of it, and I mean, it was really good. He bought the Olay Extreme wraps, which are only 1 point. Of course, chicken was free. I think for the whole thing, the Bolthouse Ranch, I'm not for sure how much he put in everything, but I took it like a regular serving. So I think I claimed 5 points, but I don't think I had 5 points worth of cheese or anything in it. So, but I like to be a little, you know, extra just in case. And that was really good. So I do have, he said, well, there's just a little left that you can put on like crackers. I'm thinking, well, that'd be a good lunch sometime. There's enough to put on 1 cracker. I thought, oh my goodness, you should have just thrown that on your salad or your wrap. But we do have extra shredded chicken, and I might just eat what's left of the shredded chicken, because I like doing that. And maybe I'll have to think. I do have some cantaloupe in there. I could have a cantaloupe with it and have the shredded chicken. I do have pretzel sticks. I might do some pretzel sticks with it. And I got some sugar-free Welch's grape Kool-Aid I'm drinking right now. So, and that might be my my lunch, because my breakfast, I was done with that about 11:30, so I'm not overly hungry, and by the time that I am hungry, it will be supper time. And if we're in the middle of doing something, I did unthaw from the freezer some lean beef, so we can always do, you know, a hamburger or something like that. And if he's not hungry and I'm not too hungry, I can always have cereal. So, but yeah. So sorry, my friends, if I seem kind of out of it or down or whatever. I'm feeling fine. I'm just tired, you know, from all that canning and everything. And it does take a lot out of you. But this winter will really appreciate it. So I told Mr. Jerry, I said, you know, last year on the peaches, we did 15 pints. This year we did 48 pints. I said, so really, you know, we used up all of the pint jars from the pickles that didn't pickle, basically. They were kind of mushy. So we took all those extra jars. And I really had started more into canning last year, because I told him, I said, because he didn't like the green beans last year that I had done, because I froze them. And like I said before, I mean, they taste to me like fresh garden green beans. But he didn't care for them. And I told him, and he says, why can't you just do like you did, you know, the peaches and stuff? And I says, well, because they can't be water bath. They got to be pressure canned. And I didn't have a pressure canner. And I said, and I'm not too excited about a pressure canner that scares the living daylights out of me. Growing up, we had pressure canners, and ours was yellow. And once you had one that's kind of exploded or something, you just kind of, you know, because my mom and grandma always did stuff like that. So that made me a little nervous. Well, he had researched, they just started coming out with electric canners, and we got the Presto, and it basically does everything. It tells, I mean, there's a booklet so you know what to do. You still have to research your altitude so you know if the time is correct or not. But there's no babysitting the pressure canner. That was the one thing, that once you put your weight on top of the canner, And if it said it had to be 10 pounds of pressure for, let's say, well, 20 minutes for the green beans, you have to sit out there and make sure that the pressure stayed. If it started going up a little high, then you turn down the heat a little bit until it hit that 10. And then if it went too low, you have to turn the heat up. And my friend is the same way. She has a regular one, and she just takes a book out in the kitchen. She sits there and she reads. I mean, because you have to watch the regulator until it's time to let it cool and shut the heat off. So so he had researched into that, and I really didn't think I would ever get one because they did scare me. And he said he was going to get one, and they happen to be on sale because they're not cheap. But I won't lie, I was really nervous last year doing it, and he helped a lot with that because that memory kept coming up. But this year it's just like, once you reacquaint yourself, you know, it's like that old friend there to help you out on this stuff. So we did get that. We did get a dehydrator. My friend dehydrates a lot of stuff, and I tend to start to do that too. And so we looked at what she used, and they happened to have it on sale. So we got that. And then last Christmas, our son was going to dehydrate some jerky, and we let him borrow it, some deer jerky, and he really liked it. So I don't see them buying one. He'll probably just say, hey Mom, can I borrow yours, which is no big deal, because in the winter months I don't use it too often. So but yeah, so last year was the big year of all the high price gadgets like that, and buying more canning jars and lids and auctions. That's what we would look for, is canning jars and rings and stuff like that, and all the different things that you need for it. And so yeah, I say all that just to say that we've you know, used up, you know, 2 other products canning stuff. So because the green beans, I did 21 pints, and so if I get 21 pints out of this half bushel, and I already got 13, then that's 13 more jars than what I had. So, you know, I think it's like 12 jars in a package. So I told him we should be okay if he can just go buy a couple of packages of those. But I did run out of the lids that sit on top. We had 120 of them. And then he went into Walmart and he bought 2 packages. So there's enough to do a batch. So, and the other ones are supposed to come to, you know, this afternoon from Amazon. So, but yeah. But anyways, my friends, thanks for always listening. There are times like today I just didn't want to get on, and it helps get me out of my funk to be able to come talk to somebody, even though I don't see you face to face, and even though you can't respond back right at that time. I do appreciate it, because life is hard sometimes, and life sucks sometimes, and sometimes you just need someone to talk to or listen to while you're doing whatever you're doing. I know I do. I can put somebody on, and I can be sitting there snipping my green beans and everything, you know, or I can be in the kitchen and preparing something and have whoever in the background. I don't need to always see them, but I can hear their voice. And there are several people that they're just a calming effect for me that I need to, you know, listen to. And it also helps that I know that I can come on here and just sit there like I picked up the phone and say, hey, y'all got a minute? I need someone to chit chat with. I want to tell you what's going on, and I want to share all the fun with our new kitties, and the frustration with the green beans, and show you all the things I'm making and what we've canned or froze, you know, and so thanks for being there for me. You're gonna hear Mr. Jerry probably go by. I don't know if you ever can hear it. The windows are closed and everything, so, but I'm gonna let you go, and I'm gonna go get a little bit of lunch, edit this, and just put it up, try to get it up way before I did yesterday. And then I will sit there and get out my 8-cup measure, and I will sit there and snip some beans. Oh, thanks again, my friends. Hugs to the ones that like hugs. And a big old smile to the ones that say thank you, but don't hug me, hon. So I'll let you go, and I hopefully will see you on our next visit. Thanks as always. See you soon.